Hello, welcome to Commissioner's Corner. I'm Commissioner Charlotte Garrido from South Kitsap, District 2. I'm here today to talk a little bit about the 2012 board priorities. That's the Board of County Commissioners priorities. We met recently to review the many responsibilities that we have and felt that we needed to be fairly strategic about a couple of big items. The first one we chose is to identify opportunities for us to provide regional services and look at items on a regional issue in Kitsap County. And the second one is that we want to partner on economic development initiatives here in Kitsap County. You know that my portfolio as a county commissioner has included economic development, and that I serve, for example, on 3 different boards. I serve on the Kitsap Economic Development Alliance, on the Olympic Workforce Development Consortium Board, as well as the Puget Sound Regional Council's Economic Development District. And on Commissioner's Corner in the past, we've talked about some of the projects I work on in terms of economic development. And those include energy efficiencies and clean technology, transportation, and the food system and agriculture here in Kitsap County. So it gives me great pleasure today to welcome to Commissioner's Corner John Powers, who is the Executive Director for the Kitsap Economic Development Alliance. And he recently joined the Economic Development Alliance, brings terrific energy to Kitsap County and lots of knowledge about economic development. So you're going to talk a little bit about economic development today, some of the goals and maybe trends and some of the activities coming forward for the Economic Development Alliance. But why don't you start for just a minute by telling us a little bit about yourself?
Thank you, Commissioner, and thank you for the invitation to spend some time with you and share with the citizens of Kitsap County about economic development work and the way that both the public sector, local government, working with local businesses, the private sector, can come together and achieve things to orchestrate economic development in a way throughout the county that might not otherwise occur if they didn't come together in a strong public partnership. I also want to thank you for the service on the Kitsap Economic Development Alliance board. It's a large board, as you know, some 18 elected officials across the county, as well as 18 senior business leaders that come together quarterly to talk about what we can do as a community to make sure that we're creating economic development opportunities both today and for generations to come. So this is a great opportunity, and I thank you.
Good.
I am a developer, and what is a developer? A developer is one that brings together different capital sets and mixes them and connects them with a marketplace in such a way that transactions occur, investments are made, people are hired, products or goods or services are created, and then wealth in the community is built through economic development. Our clients are really the private business sector here in the community, and we try and figure out ways that we can help them stay here and grow here or attract new companies to come and join us in this wonderful community. So as an economic developer, I have a special opportunity to work with the public officials and business leaders to really help shape that economic future of Kitsap County. My background is one as a small business person, an entrepreneur. Right out of college, I started a small business in insurance and finance and real estate, and did that for several years, and that led me into the practice of law, where I practiced business law primarily for nearly 20 years, helping businesses in a variety of contexts. That led me into public service, where I had the honor of serving as the mayor of Spokane, and it was in that experience that I really got connected to the work of economic development to see how cities and counties and ports can work together with the local business community to create more opportunities. So that really sparked an interest in me. And so that's where I am today here in Kitsap County, very grateful for this opportunity to join the community and to work with you and other elected officials and business leaders to really carve out a strong economic future for Kitsap and the role it plays in the greater central Puget Sound region. So this doesn't happen in isolation. It really happens in concert across our county and throughout the region.
Great. Well, it's really wonderful to have you here too. So what is your impression of the local business climate?
Strong. As you know, we have a very solid base in our economy that's built around Naval Base Kitsap and the Department of Defense, the Department of Navy, and all that goes on there. Just as an example, in the Puget Sound Naval Shipyards, there are over 10,000 direct employees of the Department of Navy helping to build and retro-commission the U.S. fleet. It's the 3rd largest naval base installation in the fleet. In addition to the 10,000 plus direct employees, there's another 10,000 or more contractors that work with those employees and work with the shipyard to create those products and services and really to play an integral role in our national defense. So over 20,000 people engaged daily just in the shipyards. In addition to that, we of course have the Bangor installation, which is part of Naval Base Kitsap, and we have Keyport. If you roll that all together, that's a very large industrial complex, and it's one that really is the underpinning to our community, but it's much, much more than that. It's technology, it's health service, it's marine industry and marine manufacturing on a variety of fronts. It's all kinds of things that create a very diverse and strong community for a population of 250,000 citizens with 120,000 workforce. So it's a strong force. Our unemployment rate, we enjoy an unemployment rate that is lower than most of the state of Washington. It's 7.5 as we speak today. And we see a real bright future here in Kitsap, not only within the county, but the role it plays, again, in this region that we actually play an orchestrated, integrated role in with Pierce County, King County, Snohomish County, and Kitsap County. They form what's known as an economic development district, which gives us an opportunity to collaborate together on our joint economic futures.
So what kinds of collaborations do you see, and how does that connection impact local Kitsap Economic Development Alliance working with the region?
Well, as you know, as a member of the Puget Sound Regional Council, that is a government, a body of governments throughout those 4 counties, I think over 80 individual government entities that come together to collaborate on how they can share resources and plan for the future, whether it be infrastructure, from highways to ferry systems, whether it be education, what do we need to do to make sure we're training up the next generation of a skilled workforce, or whether it be focusing in on what our common priorities and strengths might be. And one of those things in the region is the military and the Department of Defense activity in this region. It's very strong, from the Joint Base Lewis McChord facility through Naval Base Kitsap to Everett, Whidbey Island, and beyond. This whole region is one that is very strong and plays a strategic role in our national defense. That's just one of over 15 clusters or concentrations of economic development activity in this region that we participate in.
So talk to me a little bit about what is this cluster approach you've just mentioned, and what are some of the important industries that impact Kitsap County?
You bet. A cluster is a concentration of above average activity or economic output in an industry. Here in this region, some of those that have served us well for generations would be the aerospace industry, around Boeing and all of the other aviation companies that supply and support Boeing and other aviation companies. The trade and the port system we have here and how it connects us to the globe in a variety of ways. The technology industry that 30 years ago we wouldn't have been talking about a technology or information communication technology cluster, and today we are among the world's leading technology centers. Life science, healthcare, unique internet-based services including retail, Amazon and others. And here in Kitsap, we also participate in the tech world. There's a lot of technology that's developed here in Kitsap. As an example, Kitsap County ranks second in the region, which means we're second in the state, in the prosecution of new intellectual property or patents.
I didn't know that.
In the last 5 years, over 608 patents have been issued from companies that are located here in Kitsap County. King County leads the region. We're second. That's remarkable.
Yes.
We're also second in Kitsap County in the region with an educational attainment level. We have a skilled, educated workforce, which really, as you know in your work on the Workforce Development Council, is the most essential capital in business. It's the human capital, because today it's about the people and what they can do with that technology. We have great strengths there. And then another thing we're blessed with is our level of income in Kitsap County. We there rank second as well in the region and therefore the state of Washington in the median household incomes that support our local economy, that allow us to support local merchants and local businesses and really have a strong bedrock economy. We really do have a lot going for us in Kitsap.
So as I recall, KEDA has some working groups on some of those industry clusters. And they've actually produced some roadmaps to how we actually engage even more in terms of, say, broadband, or I believe that small farm agriculture is one of the working groups as well. I know that education had one at one time, and there was a small business support group. Are there others? And are they continuing?
Well, there's activities in all those areas. Let's talk about one that people at first blush might not think is part of our economy, and that would be the small entrepreneurial farmer. Farming is a long traditional activity, not just in our region, our county, but really throughout the Northwest. And that reflects the ability of an individual, a small business person. Maybe it's a married couple, maybe it's a family, maybe it's a family partnership, where they can come in and pool their resources to create local products that are highly sought after, particularly in the organic farming field. So we have some strengths there that I think are growing. We also have an opportunity to explore as to how we might serve, for instance, the Navy with locally grown produce that could be directly delivered for their needs on base or even at sea. So I think that's kind of a sleeper, but it's important. Relative to education, we're very connected to Olympic College, which is a wonderful resource for our economy, as we are connected to the school districts, the K through 12 school districts, from North Kitsap to Central to South to Bainbridge. That really is the feedstock, if you would, of our workforce, making sure that our local public schools really do a good job in preparing the students for this knowledge-based economy, which is really where we are today. And probably the biggest local or immediate news would be what's happening in the aerospace industry. Everyone's probably read about Boeing's decision to expand in this region, beginning with the production of the next generation of the 737 airplane, which will continue on in Renton, which has been its traditional home, and that's a great thing for everyone in the state of Washington. I think it also presents a unique opportunity for Kitsap, because we're so close, so connected, and we have such a strong workforce development pipeline here that we believe there'll be opportunities for us in Kitsap to be home to much of that expanded supply chain, the manufacturing of specialty parts that can be delivered quickly into a region that will assemble that final product. So we're excited about what will happen in aerospace throughout the region, and we believe now here in Kitsap. And the Economic Development Alliance has partnered with the Port of Bremerton and with communities throughout Kitsap, all the cities, the Kitsap County Commissioners, to participate in what's been known as the Pegasus Project. It's a Washington aerospace partnership, which is about making sure we're investing in that industry and that we're creating a workforce that can compete in that industry. And we think here in Kitsap we'll play a good, strong role in supporting that expanded supply chain. And so we formed a Kitsap Aerospace and Defense Alliance to make sure that our political capital and our financial capital and our workforce capital are focused on that opportunity.
So this is a really good example of the industry cluster approach, because we do look at a cluster of a particular industry, whether it's aerospace or manufacturing, healthcare or whatever, and begin to look at what it takes to prepare potential employees for that market, and what are the various jobs that are directly related to that industry, and what are some of the related support industries around it, and how do you prepare the employees to be able to perform the jobs, not only for the major part of the industry, but for the supporting pieces of the industry. And therefore, I like to think of education and training as, I'm trying to remember what you called it, but as the foundation of every single industry. And it may be different for each industry, but you can't do it without training and education in your community. And so that's why that's an especially important industry for our community and every community.
It absolutely is. And as an economic developer, leading an economic development organization, we're constantly assessing what I call our capital stack. What's here in the business community today that we can strengthen? What is it we need to bring in to diversify? And it starts with several categories of capital, but human capital, the workforce, is the most essential. Then we have financial capital. Are we attracting the type of investment and credit facilities that we need to make sure our businesses are supported with their financial needs? Then we have physical infrastructure, water, sewer, airplanes, ports, ferry system, whatever it might be that we as a community can support that economic activity. We also have innovation capital. What are we doing to create new things that'll compete in that ever faster paced global economy? And then we have another capital that's sometimes overlooked. That's the social, political capital of a community. That's really the attitude of a community. Mm-hmm. Are they working together? Do they believe in their future together? Are leaders really about coming together in a collaborative fashion to plan for the future? And I would say here in Kitsap County, we have a very strong measure of social political capital, and that's very important to economic development. So I see as a developer that we have all the pieces in place. Our job working together is to develop it, deploy it, integrate it, and then at the end of the day, orchestrate its use so that businesses are doing more and more. They're employing more people at higher and better wages. There's wealth being created in the community that then supports, again, all those systems that support the community. So Kitsap is a very strong community. Although it's, in numbers 250,000, it's less than 10% of our regional population of 3.2 million. But pound for pound, per capita, Kitsap really competes on so many levels.
Sure. I mean, geographically, we're one of the smaller counties, and yet we are one of the highest density
very unique.
As well. Yeah.
That was one of the things that surprised me as I came in to study the market, was that very factor.
Right, but we also have a high quality of life. So there are many important elements that make us a really good location for jobs and for entrepreneurial attempts as well. And I think the Navy is a very important ground for some of the entrepreneurs that have grown in Kitsap County, for contracts with the Navy, but also into their own businesses in Kitsap County.
Absolutely, and one of the things we try and focus on with the Navy economy here is to make sure the small independent businesses have a shot to work with the larger contractors on some of the larger projects and contracts, so that more and more of those national defense dollars spent here really do matriculate into the local businesses and local economy. So that's a real focus of KEDA today. And we have a program called the PTAC program, which is Procurement Technical Assistance Center. We're a certified center. We hold classes throughout the year advising small businesses on how to get themselves prepared, certified, and registered to do business either directly with the Department of Navy or with the large prime contractors that have large multi-million-dollar assignments but need to turn to local talent to make sure the job can get done. So that's a real focus of our organization. We've had a lot of success there, and we're proud of the work that we do.
So you talked about PTAC, and we've talked about economic development generally and why Kitsap is a great place for economic development. What are some of the priorities for KEDA, Kitsap Economic Development Alliance, for the next year?
In the coming year, we want to first focus on developing our organization and the resources that support it. This organization, the Kitsap Economic Development Alliance, has a 30-year history. And 5 years ago, the community came together and looked at the history and then looked at the future of an organization like ours. And it really recommitted to the importance of having a county-wide alliance for the purposes of economic development and opportunity. So 5 years into this new mission, we're making sure that our organization itself and the resources that we receive from the community, both local government and local business, are sufficient for us to not only continue our good work, but to really take it to the next level in these very competitive economic times, whether it be exploring and developing an aerospace cluster, or whether it be working with a marine manufacturing cluster, which we have great strengths in. Safeboat is an example, hundreds of employees producing world-class products that
very impressive.
Go across the country. So we want to make sure that we continue to do well in supporting those businesses. And we want to make sure that we look at new opportunities to diversify that economy a little bit and connect to the region in a stronger way. So one of our focuses as we look to the future is make sure Kitsap is well connected to the central Puget Sound region, to the larger economy, if you would, and the larger population base, which really constitutes over 60% of the state of Washington's economic output comes from those 4 counties, Snohomish, King, Pierce, and Kitsap. So there's great opportunity there if we see it and embrace it, leverage it for our benefit, and contribute back to that regional economy as well. So regionalism is also a priority, and then we want to accelerate the rate at which we touch and serve our clients, the business community. More and more case files open, helping more and more businesses. We're like any other professional services organization or partnership, whether it be law, accounting, engineering. We have clients with needs that we step up and advise and counsel or connect them to resources that can help them find the solutions they need to move forward. So it's exciting work, and it's a little like some of my background experience in practicing law for 20 years. I'd have a client with a series of issues, a file open, we'd figure out a strategy to address them, and we'd deliver the type of advice, service, representation, or advocacy you need to really move forward. So that's really the day-to-day nuts and bolts work of the Economic Development Alliance. And the last and the fourth priority for this coming year is to make sure that our board members, which are great resources in the community, 38 leaders across Kitsap County, both business and public officials, we want to make sure that they're fully engaged and they're using their relationships and their resources and their ideas to partner with us in an active way to promote this community, because who better than the own community leaders to be out there on the point selling Kitsap, telling the Kitsap story, which is a powerful story to tell.
And the Kitsap businesses that are here on Buy Local is one of the very, very important tasks that each of us need to pay attention to.
It is. And what we have to do in working with the community is to make sure that those that are in the marketplace understand and are aware of the deep talent pool of products and services and a variety of things that either local government or local business needs to survive. So buying local, accessing your local talent first, is all about making sure that you're strengthening your local economy. That's a very important point.
Because every time we spend $1 in our local economy, it recirculates. If we've spent it with a local business, it recirculates in our community. It doesn't leave our community.
Very true. And you know, there's kind of two aspects to an economy. One is a primary job base in which a business is producing a product or service that primarily is exported out of the community, bringing in wealth or revenues from other areas, whether it be the region, the state, the country, or internationally. And in this region, we do a lot of exporting, both exporting to the country's markets as well as the international markets. That brings someone else's dollar bills in here that then come in to support our local service economy, which is very important to make sure that we have strong main streets, good services, whatever it is that it takes to support the community, we've got it here, and that it's profitable and that it's sustainable and that we see ourselves in this for the long haul.
Indeed. So I heard the word sustainable. Have you worked with the Bainbridge Graduate Institute that offers certificates and master's degrees in sustainable business? Have you
Well, as a matter of fact,
visited them?
I have, and they're another great resource in Kitsap. And they have offices and classrooms and operations in downtown Bainbridge, the old Winslow downtown Bainbridge. They also have, as part of their program, activities out at Islandwood, which is a wonderful environmental complex on Bainbridge Island. They also have classrooms and services offered in downtown Seattle. So they really have a regional presence. And the Bainbridge Graduate Institute, which was founded here by help me out here.
Gifford
Pinchot. Thank you
yes.
very much.
And others.
And others. A descendant, a grandfather that was instrumental in creating our national park service and system. So we have a history of being good stewards of the environment, and now we have a reputation for innovative ways to protect our environmental assets and yet do it in a way that we can move forward economically. So sustainability is about making sure your use of resources today is a smart use so that you can continue to do what you need to do to succeed economically long term. And there's a new leader at the Bainbridge Graduate Institute. His name is John Gardner. Joined us from Washington State University, where he was a leader in their economic development efforts. So we're pleased to have a talent of John's nature here now working in Kitsap County. And we expect a strong partnership there. It's a great resource for not just Kitsap County, but the region and beyond. It has a great reputation.
Yeah, it does. And well, not only it's nationally known and somewhat internationally, but certainly students come from all across the United States to attend I've actually visited sometimes some of their intensives, they call them, because they come in for a long weekend. Most of the work is done electronically between those physical visits.
There you go. And I know you have a background and keen interest in that. And
in education.
And I first started mine years ago when I served as the mayor of Spokane. As we were developing a regional economic strategy, we worked with an expert in the field called Bill McDonough. He was an early pioneer in sustainability. And he created a list of design principles called the Hanover Principles of Design, which really guided the sustainability movement. How can you make sure that the economy and the environment and the social equity piece are always in balance so that you can continue to build for generations to come? So that really sparked my interest in the area. And I see it as a strategy that adds to the bottom line. I think it creates more profitability in companies, more certainty in companies. And there's many companies here in Kitsap that are green companies, from Watson Furniture up in the 12 Trees Business Park in Paulsbo. I was just up there last week touring around. The way they handled their waste stream and recycle it and reuse it is remarkable.
I have visited, and that is impressive.
And Leader International in Port Orchard is a company that works in sustainability and new lighting technologies for energy savings and conservation. The Rice Fergus Miller architectural firm has a real reputation for its sustainability prowess. So there's a lot going on in Kitsap around that sustainability and how it can actually enhance the performance and profitability of businesses.
That's right. Lots is going on, and I look forward to working with you for many, many years on many, many more initiatives. This is a priority for the Board of County Commissioners for 2012. Let's keep pushing that envelope. Thank you for being here today. It's been a great pleasure. And thank you all for watching today. See you next time on Commissioner's Corner.